another guy that's going to likely be traded is Cooper Kupp. And I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but that was different. I mean, that was different to have an athlete kind of go to his Instagram, go to his Twitter, and really make it very well known that he disagreed with the decision. He said that the Rams are going to trade me and that the Rams are looking to move off of me. And he said that he still feels like he's willing to put in the work and having another lead season. The unfortunate thing for Cooper Kupp is he's just not the guy that he was.
Yeah, I think the injury history causes some concerns. He's getting older in age, which should also be a concern for a bunch of teams. And I think for the Los Angeles Rams, they're trying to go into this next phase, even though they still have Matthew Stafford. So they're getting younger, ultimately. If you look at the roster, they're one of the youngest teams in football. So you can tell they are trying to get a bit younger. But Cooper Kupp is a LA legend for life. I think he will always be attached to this city. I will say this, though. I would love to see him in Baltimore as a Raven. I think him, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman could easily put themselves as one of the best wide receiver groups in the league.
That's interesting. I mean, I think with Cooper Kupp and kind of where he's at, I mean, he had almost 2,000 yards in his Triple Crown season. I mean, he's had basically the same amount in the last 3 seasons. And the yards per reception, the ADOT, all of his numbers that kind of indicate explosion are way, way down. So if I'm a team out there and I'm looking to trade for Cooper Kupp, kind of my first kind of answer is like, who else do you have on your roster and how do you kind of pair that? I mean, if you're the Rams, you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. They kind of do similar things when they're at their best. The Rams have kind of already indicated they want an explosive wide receiver. I mean, they were looking at Mike Evans. They were considering trading up for Rome Odunze. But that's an interesting spot. I mean, that's an interesting spot. I think the Steelers are an interesting team to me. I mean, look at where the Steelers are at. They were a team that was interested in trading for him at the deadline this year. They made some calls, and I think they need to find a quarterback first, of course. But I mean, I think he can help guys like George Pickens and kind of the lack of culture there that the receivers have. Of course, you have Mike Tomlin, one of the best in the game. But I mean, there's no real team that I think he goes in and has a big impact. I mean, who goes to the Minnesota Vikings are a team that's interesting, right? I mean, because of Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips and all the guys that have spent time with that Rams organization. I think you already have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but if Cooper Kupp could be a 3, then he's interesting. I mean, he's as a 1, he's not that guy. As a 2, he's not that guy. As a 3, that can be a run blocker, that can kind of move the chains occasionally. Only had 28 first down catches, the lowest in his career last year. But barring health, I mean, I think you got to give J.J. McCarthy as much help as you can in his first year as a starter under center. That I think the Vikings kind of be one of my top teams as well.
That would be a great group, honestly. But I feel like when it comes to Cooper Kupp, he's just a nice glue piece to a room. I think from a leadership standpoint, from ability to run routes, professionalism, he has a lot of qualities that I think if you add him to any wide receiver room or any offensive dynamic in this league, I think they'll get a lot better. And obviously, Doug, it's not going to be from a production standpoint. Do I think he has a bunch of 1,000-yard seasons left in him? He probably doesn't. But if he can still give me an 800-yard, 900-yard season, 7 to 9 touchdowns, then I really feel like I'm getting what I'm asking for. And if I'm the Rams, it's not like you're getting a first-round pick for him. You're going to really probably take the best offer you can get. And the Rams are going to accommodate him. He is one that's been there. Whether people want to admit this or not, and I know his injury history has been bad, he's a cornerstone piece to that franchise. He is easily a part of Rams lore for forever.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue really is they paid him as Super Kupp, but he hasn't been that. I mean, if you look at his AAV and what he would basically require, I mean, you're basically paying what T. Higgins is probably going to get this offseason. One thing I'll say about the Rams, knowing them pretty closely, is they do right by their players, and they try to get guys in situations where they're happy at the end of the day. He wants to compete for a championship. We just talked about the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are interesting to me. I mean, you got Khalil Shakir, you got Keon Coleman, you got Josh Allen, you got a team that's been knocking on the door. They definitely could use the veteran leadership. And there's not a lot of teams out there that make a lot of sense where he could actually chase a championship, especially in year 1. But I think the Bills could be a fit. The Chiefs are interesting as well, just because they took a big swing on DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown. They're both going to be free agents. Rashee Rice is going to be back in 2025, but Kelsey's getting older. we don't know how much longer he's going to play. We know how much longer he wants to play, but how effective he's going to be. I mean, he's not the same guy that he was. They don't have a ton of talent. I mean, outside of those guys who mentioned they're going to be free agents and Patrick Mahomes on the offensive side. So I think that's kind of one of those things where they wanted Kupp before they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. So it's pretty logical to think that they would pursue him once again. And I think if you're Cooper Kupp, that's the one destination where it feels like, okay, I'm going to get revenge. I feel like, I went through a breakup and then, I got a supermodel. I end up with a supermodel after that when you end up with a team like the Chiefs and potentially Mahomes that could be going for a 4th straight Super Bowl. So I think that, what? It's on also too, I'll throw another team is the Patriots for a completely opposite reason. And that is that the Patriots have tons of cap space. No team in the NFL has more cap space than the Patriots. Also, no team in the NFL has more of a need for playmakers. And if they want to maximize what Drake May has, they need guys that can make plays. They also need culture builders as well. Guys that can really teach that next generation as they get further removed from the Belichick and Tom Brady era how to do things. But the big negative there is they're just not set up to win. So that would be kind of one of those things if you're Cooper Kupp. I don't care how big of an impact you think you can have. Cooper Kupp is not making the Patriots a Super Bowl contender.
I don't think he wants to be the grandpa of the team. And if he goes to the Patriots, he'll definitely be that. But Cooper Kupp, for any quarterback, especially these young ones, the J.J. McCarthy's, the Drake Mays, he is a great security blanket to have on a lot of these teams. I mean, to me, no matter what, Doug, Cooper Kupp is going to make an offense better. I truly do feel that because of what his skill set is.
That's what he does. That's what he does. It's just, can he stay healthy? I'll throw out the craziest team out there. And this definitely nightmare fuel. Kind of reminds me of Isaac Bruce ending his career with this team. But the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers, to think of Cooper Kupp in a Niners uniform, I'll duck if Rams fans are throwing anything at me. But they need another wide receiver with Deebo Samuel pretty much possibly done in San Francisco. He's a guy that can help someone like Brock Purdy and his development. And the Rams, I mean, would they make a deal with the devil and kind of shake hands with the enemy and send Cooper Kupp to San Francisco? It's unlikely, but if we're just looking at pure needs, I mean, that's definitely a team that is intriguing, that's trying to overcome what was a terrible season for them in 2024.
Yeah, they had an extremely down year. I just can't see them doing business with them. Could you see the Bengals, for example? They need a pass rusher on that defense to upgrade it. Are they going to really be able to do business with the Browns? I kind of see the same situation here. I can't see the 49ers and the Rams doing business with each other, but if they were to, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Like Brett Favre going to the Vikings, I mean, that puts all this, anything's possible, I guess. But